Begin tonight with new information from a report by the Department of Natural Resources that is giving us a better idea of what sparked the devastating Gray Fire more than 6 months ago. Investigators found Inland Power and Light is responsible for starting that fire that ultimately burned more than 11,000 acres and killed one person.
We have complete team coverage tonight. I looked into the next steps in the potential legal action against the utility company Inland Power and Light. Nathan Hyun spoke with families who lost their homes in the fire, but we begin with KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy, who's giving us an in-depth breakdown of that report. Shannon?
This is a summary of a 300-page DNR report showing wildland fire investigators knew within hours of the Gray Fire sparking it was likely due to faulty equipment owned by Inland Power and Light. A senior wildland fire investigator sums it up. Inland Power was responsible for this fire. DNR's investigation found the Gray Fire was caused by sparks from a security light traveling onto dry grass. It's unsurprising, but welcome news for attorneys John Allison and Gerald Singleton.
They're independent, they're objective, they don't have skin in the game other than to find the truth.
Obviously, we think very important that they agreed with our theory of the case.
In 2 separate lawsuits brought by hundreds of fire victims, investigators also pointed at faulty Inland Power and Light equipment as the fire's cause. DNR's report details how a state investigator discovered the fire's origin at 12605 Gray Road, across from the Inland Light pole that showed signs of melting or burning. A V-shaped burn pattern shown here on photos from the scene also pointed the investigator to the fire's starting point. At least 2 witnesses reported seeing sparks coming from this pole after the fire started. But the report also shows there were concerns about the light months before the blaze.
Looks like they made a mistake, and it looks like their lines were what caused this. And so they're going to have to make it right.
One witness says she called Inland Power to report the light flickering from a possible loose wire. As far as she knew, Inland Power never followed up. DNR investigators took 2 pieces of the pole for evidence, but they didn't look like they fit together. It appeared there might be something missing to make these connections. Inland Power's attorney told investigators a crew that disconnected power shortly after the fire started brought 3 pieces back to the Spokane office. These 3 pieces were reviewed by a DNR investigator, and the attorney for Inland agreed the company would hold on to them as evidence after sending them to a California lab. However, DNR's investigator writes, when he went to pick up the evidence October 9th, 1 piece was missing. The lab reported an aluminum conductor with cut marks and melted aluminum wasn't sent, and Inland's attorney said he didn't know where that missing piece was. While the report may strengthen their cases, Singleton and Allison say the legal battle to reclaim uninsured losses isn't over.
I talked to one elderly woman who couldn't get insurance, and the fire took everything she had. I mean, she was left with the clothes on her back, and it's just heartbreaking.
They are still interviewing witnesses and compiling reports, preparing to possibly bring the cases to a jury.
We're trying to make the homeowners whole. In many ways, they'll never be able to accomplish that because of all they've been through, but we're doing the best we can.
Both attorneys believe these lawsuits could go to a jury trial by next year if Inland Power doesn't settle first. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.